Good evening and welcome back to my channel. So I think it's kind of obvious what I'm looking at here. Now I have done previously, I think probably a year or more so ago, an unboxing of this kit or of a kit like this. But I have been asked to actually build this one. A friend of mine picked this up. This is his. And this is the Weyland-Yutani Corporation Aliens Dropship, for those of you who are unfamiliar with that silhouette. You know, aliens. This is the dropship from the second Alien movie, used by the Colonial Marine Corps. I'm going to unbox this one because I've done mine, and this is a resin kit. So this is a kit that is done pretty much as it is ordered. So each one's going to be different. So we're going to actually unbox this one here in my intro. So this will be part one of our project. And again, I will do another project build for this. A friend of mine had asked me to do this for him. He absolutely has the skills to make this look fantastic, but he's trying to be nice to me and say, here, do this for me, because it makes me feel better. So I get to play. So those of you who have not seen this box, it's a nice, cool little wooden box. And I'm going to gently flip this over. And there's your instructions. You have what look to be, 20 massive resin pieces. Mostly massive resin pieces. Some not quite so massive resin pieces, but quite a few. This thing comes out to about 16 inches in length, about 10 inches in width, a little bit more with the wings expanded. You have the option to do gear up, gear down, which also means the landing piece is up or down. You have the option to have the missile pods open or closed. Now, this, unfortunately, as I understand, there is no hinge, so you can't make this one hingeable. So you either model this open or you model it closed. The crossbars, though, so the upper missile mounts are indeed on hinges, so you can model this to be either. So you can model it to do both. You have a nice frame for the cockpit. You do not have clear part for that, so if you want clear part in there, that will have to be made. So this is not for the faint of heart, and this is probably not for the novice modeler, unless you really want to cut your teeth on something challenging. So with that said, we are going to go ahead and crack into this and open it up. You're greeted with a certificate of authenticity. So this is a limited edition. I believe they are doing 1,000 of these, if I recall correctly. He who shall not be named picked up number 535. So they are about halfway through. So now, as you can see, we have a big old box of big old parts. So I'm going to pull these parts out and set these aside. We will look at these parts. One at a time, or so a few at a time, I guess. Let's get this done, and this. So that is my box. My box is empty. Cool. All right. Step one for any resin kit, and I strongly recommend it with these, is that you wash the parts. So we're going to start with, this is your landing, your bay door. This is the inside, this is the outside. I'm not sure what those black marks are on there. It's in the surface, I can feel it. So not really sure what that is, but you see some nice detail there. So if you go with this down, you get to see this. If you go with the kit in flight mode, you will then see, you'll see the bottom of it. So, I mean, obviously you can see pour marks and you can see they've been sort of sanded off. There's going to be work. I'm going to say this right now. There will be lots of cleanup work for this kit. So understand that, know that going in, and be ready for it. Don't be surprised if you have it. So this bag of small parts, we'll go through these. These are your gear up landing skids. So these are the two front forward landing skids in the gear up configuration. So when you have, matter of fact, this is the bottom part of the hull. So when you have gear up, they drop in thus. Easy peasy. So that's your gear up configuration. These are your landing or your deployment ramp. That's the word I'm looking for. Struts, there we go. So these are the struts that go in and go down and hold the landing gear. I'm guessing they go like this because of the angle. The interesting thing about these is it doesn't just drop down like that. It actually lowers down, then goes to an angle. So you see shorter ones for the back and longer ones for the front. And you saw those in the instructions. So these are your landing struts. This is another strut of some sort that there are 4 of these, it appears. So I will find out what those are in, when I look at the instructions. So now I'm going to go ahead and cheat and look. Those are, these 4 are for gear up. So these are your deployment bay up. So in flight mode. So instead of having 1, 2, 3, 4 down, you would put these down into the mount points on your main fuselage, and then you would attach these up in. Okay, so that's what those are. See, helps to actually look at the instructions. So that's that. So these are your mounting struts for your deployment bay. This is your cage. So this is your cockpit window, and I'm pretty sure this is the front. You can just go ahead and do that. Yes. Nope, I had it backwards. So, that'll go in like that. And a little bit of cleanup, but as you can see, there's no glass, there's no plastic, there's no clear plastic. Now, these are flat. So, if you wish, you can get some clear perspex and drop it in there. All right. So there's that. This bag is kind of obvious as to what it is. This is your forward landing gear in the gear down position. And as you can see, it is at an angle. So your dropship will take that kind of an angle when it's gear down. So there's your gear down. You see some fairly nice detail to it. It's crisp, it's clean. This is really the first good look. This is really the first piece that has some detail in it, other than your door. So your underneath is kind of nice, and again, it will just drop into the hull. So, I mean, this is obviously magnetizable, which in my case, I believe I am going to be doing that for various and sundry reasons. These look to be pretty much duplicates of each other. So you have some bubble, you have some cleanup, you have some pour marks. Obviously, the gear needs to be cleaned up, so forth, and so on. But the details are nice, so these look good, right? These are in an assembly that are paintable, so you should be able to paint and detail those quite easily without too much difficulty. Branding. There's a lot of branding on this thing, by the way. It's all over the place. I think it's in all the major pieces. So here are your upper missile wings. And you will see, I mean, you're going to see a lot of mold release residue. I've seen a lot of that. There's right here. So you will need to make a point to scrub these. I really don't know what these marks are. I don't recall seeing these on mine, but the detail on these front pieces are good. We've got a missile tip missing off there, but that's something that can be fixed. You know, up and down. So which one's the top and which one's the bottom? Those are pretty obvious. There's, you know, the tolerances are not huge. They're not really tight. So, you know, for two pieces that are going to lay on top of each other, that's actually not bad. We kind of want that. Detail to the inside. Lots of cleanup here, cleanup there. Cleanup at the back of here. Those look good. Clean up here, seam lines. So, not terrible, but not perfect. I mean, these are big pieces. These are very large pieces, but the cleanup is just those are patience things. The hardest or the most annoying, I think, for this whole block is that right there, and that's not broken. That's a bubble. So there was a bubble when this was poured. Yeah, so that's those. Those go together well. As you can see, they do have hinges. So when they go in, and I will point to those later when we get to the main parts, those can be hinged. This is the two underwing mounts. So the two mounts that go to the front and lower part. This is really tacky, so there's a lot of mold release on this. Yeah, that's curved. I wonder if this thing, both of these are a little bit, that one's worse. So this one I'm going to have to do some cleanup on. It almost feels like the resin didn't 100% cure on this. Clean up. You can see how shiny it is compared to the other pieces we've had out. Yeah, there's definitely some residue on this. So your options for this guy, you can display these. You can put these mounted down, or mounted tucked in underneath, or mounted out. You really are not going to have an option to make them. So if we look at this, this is how they'll go. So you have the option to do it like this, and it fits in. Or you have the option, oops, if I can get my fingers to work, or you have the option to affix it permanently like this, unless you find a way to engineer that, so what I'm looking for, unless you find a way to engineer that hinge, it's doable, I imagine, but that's, you're going to, one of the issues is the fact that you're going to have to somehow find a way to hold that open. So I have a sneaking suspicion, and I'm almost certain I'm going to be modeling those in the open and deployed position. Other than that, yeah, the only real disappointment is that curve right there. And so this will be getting warmed up and reformed. We can do that. I don't recall if my other one had that issue or not, so I will look at some point. Why, yes, indeed, I am looking at the little pieces first. And here are our tail fins. So you have upper and lower tail fins. Your lower tail fins are molded to the thing. Your upper fins are, I guess they're right here. I guess this one here. So yeah, so that will drop in like that. So this is your upper tail fin. They're thick, they're bulky, they're almost Games Workshop-y with the bulk of those. And so I'm going to go back and take a look at the model, because somehow I don't recall these being quite so blocky. This at least has something of an airfoil-ish to it, airfoil look. I don't recall those upper fins having that look. So if that's the case, then, you know, yay. If not, then there will be some reshaping to do. This is your in-flight big foot. So this is your rear foot. This is the foot that would be deployed or would be put up to cover if it was gear up. Okay. All right. So now let's get into. So here's your gear down. So this is your rear gear down. We've got a little bit of flash. We've got some cleanup. You can see there's some misalignment here. Clean up. You know, lots of gates here. Gate there. I don't know if that's gate or a bolt. It's hard to tell. You know, the detail looks pretty cool. It looks workable. It looks decent. It's definitely, you know, a nice kit, a nice part of the kit. So again, magnetizable. So it will be easy enough to do a in-flight slash, you know, either in-flight or, you know, landed mode, if you wish to do both. And, you know, the gentleman who asked me to do this does wish. So here we'll work backward from our back forward. So these are your back tail pieces. Again, more branding. So this is your back right. You know, a little bit of texture, a little bit of, there's a little cleanup, some flash, etc. This is where your engine housing piece goes. Then they mate like so, which then shows you something I did point out previously, seams. So they mate well, and you can see that there is some deformity. There's some, and it may be that I just need to clean those up. It feels like actually what it feels like is right here. We have some deformation at the centerpiece. So it'll be a matter of how this all forms up. So there'll be putting together of, and you can see that this piece is broken. There's no broken pieces in there. So this was just a miscast. That's a little frustrating. You can see that there. Is it something we can do something about? Sure. You know, we'll deal with it. I'm going to strongly recommend reinforcing in here. Pretty much anywhere you can reinforce a seam, I'm going to strongly recommend doing that. So pay attention to how you're going to display this. So what matters, your top seam or your bottom seam? If you're going to be looking at the top, which you for the most part are, so the top and or the back. So watch your alignment where that matters, right? So here, that matters there, and then you just sort of follow it up, okay? And so here, we have this nice and clean here. And if I squeeze this together, I break that apart. So how about what I will probably do is I will start here, work my way forward. I will let this gap, depending on how much I have to play up here, and we'll work from there. So this is, I'm guessing by what this is showing me is this is just torqued, and I may have to fix that. So that's our rear piece. This is our middle rear piece. So this is the engines, which are, you know, those are really well done. These are your locking seams for the for that piece right there. And now you can see, so we have a lot of this here to clean up, which, you know, isn't hard. Very large panel line detail, some cleanup here, large panels here. Nice big gap here. And so here we go. So let's take these and we drop these bad boys in here. If I can, if it allows me to. It is not going to, so it's because of that piece right there. So here, there. So that aligns into there. This piece will align into here. Remember when I said we have a lot of branding? There's a lot of branding right there. And then we bring these two together like so. And again, I'm going to start with the back. And yeah, so that'll work. So I'm going to have a nice big gap right there. Some cleanup here. Now, this huge gap here. This is a massive gap right there. There's going to be a crap ton of filler. Right? Now, all of this is landing gear. So this is covered by your landing gear pieces. Then we have how this mates to that, which we will get to in a moment. So we will set this to the side here. Stay. And we'll pick up this. So here's your top piece. This is one huge chunk of resin. This piece of resin is humongous. It's not light at all. You can see the casting, how this was done here. You can see these cleanup parts here. This here will also correspond. There's another hole here and here, right? There we go. So you will see that those pieces here are the pieces that your wing assembly parts are going to slot into so that they can open and close. So this needs a lot of cleanup here. This needs a lot of cleanup here. But overall, this actually looks pretty good. I don't see warpage here, which is nice. If this was warped, this would kind of throw a lot out. If I recall correctly, the one that I got was. So now with that said, let's see what we can do here with this. And then we take these pieces and we slot them together. And you will see, probably, maybe, sort of, that, again, not insignificant gaps. So you can also see this is not small. This is no small kit. But you can see how this aligns up and what you're looking at when it comes to alignment. So this has got some model work to it. I have a lot of epoxy sculpt. Although what I may end up doing is using freeform air, simply because the freeform air is lighter and this thing's heavy enough as it is. So what I will recommend is do exactly what I just did. I would start at the rear here and I would assemble in this direction, because these gaps here are actually easier from a modeler standpoint to fix than that back there with the detail. Just my recommendation, because if you get this whole piece assembled and then you put this together, you put your wings in, you're 90% done right there. And then just, putty away, putty some more, putty a lot more, and go from there. So your internal detail, you have internal detail of your bay for your APC, and which is okay, but then you have this nice big branding thing there. Again, you're not going to see it. So clean up there. The little thrusters look nice. That's me. I'm going to have to, that, again, what are you going to look at, right? So from this side, those pieces there, how much of that do I need to clean up? From my perspective, I'm going to need to clean up a good bit. So anyway, yeah, it's a big chunk of resin, which is mostly what we're after. Then cockpit. I'm going to do this first. So cockpit piece, we've got some things here that are going to need to be cleaned up, but you can see the issue. Okay, all right, more cleanup. More cleanup, more putty, more sculpty. So make sure this goes in well, make sure this mounts well. Now with that said, let's take a look at this, because this is really what people are looking for. We have a piece there, but we have a fairly well done rotary cannon This needs a little bit of cleanup, but that's nice. That is nice. So your cockpit detail actually is quite well done. There will be some painting. There will be lots of painting. There will be lots of, painters needing to be creative on how we get those done. But if you look at these, you will see very nice. I like. So this piece here molded up very well. This piece did come out quite well. We're going to need to open up that one barrel, but this overall, the cockpit piece is really cool. And as you saw, the canopy cover fit well as well. So now, that's my unboxing of this kit. The plan for putting this together. So the request of the owner is for this to be done up in the Colonial Marines. Pretty much I'm going to be following the same color patterns as the movie. So I will go back and I will watch Aliens again. I'll get another good look at it. If I recall correctly, it is an olive of sort, drab-ish look. So I'll be looking to get roughly that color. I believe there's several brands out there. I'll be using airbrush and so forth to do that. But what I'm trying to do here, yes, is give you an overall idea of size. So there's this kit. There's a ruler. For those of you who have the 40K scale, this is the flight stand of a flyer. This is the stand for an Imperial Knight. So gives you an idea. That's the 170 millimeter oval base. There's the flight stand for most flyers. There's that. So this is not small. I think so. There's some engineering things I need to figure out what I want to do. I would like to build this in both variable configurations. So I'd like to be able to build it so that the owner may deploy this or set this on his shelf. Gear down, bay door down, or in flight, gear up with on a flight stand of sort. There's going to be some engineering necessary to figure out how to do that. Obviously, magnetizing the landing gear is easy. There's nothing to that. I do have only the single door, so it's not like I can just mount the door. I am probably going to have to create what looks like the door underneath, because that's pretty much right where the center of gravity is going to be. I'm anticipating the center of gravity is going to be pretty close to about this point. Although, it's kind of hard to tell. So, that will be the flight mount, which will magnetize, and I'll have to use heavy magnets to do it. That needs to be figured out. The painting needs to be figured out, so I need to go through and watch the movie to look at the ship. I can look at the interwebs and look at pictures, but those are, mostly, still pictures now, so they're not as accurate. And then, there's no decals, so there's no water slide transfers. Those are all going to have to be hand painted. I also want to make sure that the wing pieces are appropriate to what I saw. Like I said, some of those look a little Games Workshop-y, bulky. So, with that said, this is the Prodos Games Cheyenne dropship. It's got a number on it. I don't recall what it is. It's one of a limited edition. This is for another individual I'm going to be building for him. And I will be doing this as a build series. So this is not going to be short. This is going to take a while. I do have some ideas, and I will come back in part 2 with what those ideas are and how we're going to do them. At the very least, like I said, it will be magnetizable in both configurations, flight and land, among other things. So thank you very much. I hope this helps you. If you are looking at the Prodos model, I'll put the link down here. Like I said, every kit is different. So these are poured when ordered. So this one's different from mine. Here you go. If you are interested, you find that it's something you would like, now you know what's in the box, and you know what's in 2 boxes, because I've done 2. And yeah, so now let's see, I'll walk through an actual build, and we'll see how that goes. So please follow along if you wish, and I will talk to you next time. Thank you.